Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my Dark Knights and fantasy football players across the world. Welcome to the second episode of the Fantasy Cave podcast, where we will be going through all of the games and also a little something for my fantasy football league as well. If you didn't go back and watch episode 1, feel free to go back and watch episode 1. Where I go over week 2. Could have went through over week 1, but chose not to. We're going to basically review the games from week... Oh, yeah, we did do it for week 1. I apologize. But we will review the games from week 2 and also get into the week 3 games and pick winners. I will probably... go through and we'll make this quick. This is going to be about an hour long video. Each episode consistently is going to be about an hour. I feel like that's a good point for each episode. But basically, I got a win last week. Did not deserve that win last week. And I'm going to tell you why once we get into the league games here. Week 2, I won by 6 points on the back of Treylon Burks and Tyler Bass because Gabriel Davis got hurt, Michael Pittman got hurt, and a lot of my players were hurt and couldn't play. So I had to rely on Brandon Cooks, Courtland Sutton, and thank God DeAndre Swift played. But I got just enough points to seal out the victory from my opponent. It was looking pretty good for a while. And then Tyreek Hill decides to throw up 42 points in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm going to lose. But somehow I pulled it out with A.J. Dillon not giving anything. Darrell Henderson not really going off. And Connor getting hurt. I pulled out the victory with... Courtland Sutton getting like 19 points later in the later games was great. And here's the reason why I should have won this. I shouldn't have won this, but here's the reason why I should have won. I benched Jalen Waddle for Gabe Davis. Yeah. Never benching Jalen Waddle ever again. Anyway, bench Jalen Waddle. Should have never did that. That was just terrible on my part. I didn't deserve to win that week. Oh, whoops. I didn't deserve to win that week at all. But I did. I did win, and I've learned my mistake. And I will not go back on that ever again. Going over to, oh no, it's Debo, and exclamation point. Lamar Jackson, man. Lamar Jackson was, oh no, it's Debo's, winner. Absolutely. Helped him win this game, because if it wasn't for him, probably wouldn't. I mean, Tampa Bay's defense did a really good job as well, putting up 26 points, but just Lamar Jackson was incredible. And very deserving of that victory with that. Now, there is going to be a problem next week because Mike Evans is going to get suspended for next week. So he is going to be without Mike Evans, which is bad. And surprisingly, James Robinson is he's back, baby. The fact, the Achilles injury, it's not a problem for him. It really isn't a problem. Because he looks like he's back. They're just limiting how much he touches the ball, which is okay for me. He's still getting that, but the problem with that is he's getting touchdowns. If the touchdowns go away, you're not looking at a lot of points, but James Robinson is still a guy I would go and try and trade for, to be honest. In a lot of leagues, I am trying to grab him because if he keeps improving and he comes back to 100% at some point, be great. But On the exclamation point side, Kyler Murray just wasn't enough. Kyler and Mike Williams and McCaffrey look good. McCaffrey looks like he's getting back to good shape. But Pittsburgh's defense let him down. And the fact when you get 26 points from Tampa Bay's defense, it's kind of difficult at that point then. Going back to the next matchup, I'm going to finish last in designated drinkers. This matchup was just decided by Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. This guy in the league, I don't know how I beat him the week that I did. It was probably Patrick Mahomes putting up like 50 points, which saved me. But Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, that combo is going to be a problem. Is going to be an absolute problem to deal with. And when your best player on, I'm going to finish last, is Mark Andrews and Matthew Stafford, you're not going to win against Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. Now, see, the only way that this team is winning is really from Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, because the rest of his team isn't giving him a lot of points. DK Metcalf has not been giving him a lot of points. Dalvin Cook hasn't. Josh Jacobs is a terrible running back. And Dalton Schultz is going to be out for a couple weeks, most likely. But Christian Kirk is looking really good. Christian Kirk looks like he may be wide receiver 2 for this player. And honestly, just having these guys in the bench, it does help. But still, 1-1, getting back on track. But my opponent for next week is Nate Davidson's team versus the Hellraisers, which he was 2-0. And it's going to be the 2-0 team on my side leading the one division to Nate's team in 2-0 leading his division. So automatically, when I look at these, I see the one way he did win is Waller had a good day. Buffalo's defense, of course. And he was able to withstand Amon-Ra's 39 points. And really, his team let him down. Jerry Jeudy got hurt. That's really not Jerry Jeudy's fault. Devontae Adams really didn't get a lot of catches like he did last week. And Joe Burrow was terrible. Jamar Chase was also not that great. But Justin Herbert and Chubb again with 30 points again is good to see. And honestly, it was just Chubb and Herbert that really led this team to victory here. And honestly, this Hellraisers team would be better off playing Carson Wentz every week. Now, I want to start him next week against Philly's defense because they look really, really good. But it's the fact that you can throw in Carson Wentz and Curtis Samuel if Jerry Jeudy's out for a couple weeks. That's a pretty good team-up and a really good stack because even Carson Wentz has been throwing that football. I will say that. And the last matchup is the CAC Attack versus CDC Guidelines. This team is probably going to end up last place. I got to say it. The fact of losing Dak, CD not really having Dak anymore, it really hurts this team. And Jonathan Taylor not really doing a lot. Like, it sucks. It really sucks to see. Because Jonathan Taylor being on a team like this, it's sad to see. But, I mean, again, seeing CAC Attack with 30 points from Cooper Kupp and 36 points from Jalen Hurts and 33 points from Aaron Jones, it's going to be... Now, what would really be nice is if his team gets Kyle Pitts... if Kyle Pitts starts playing better, it's gonna be a problem because he does have T. Higgins to match up with that. But the running back 2 is a weakness for this team. But if J.K. Dobbins decides to come back and perform, that could also be an issue. And Drake London on the bench has looked really good as well. So he has options going forward. And honestly, As long as Jalen Hurts and Cooper Kupp are on this team, this team's going to be an issue. But, yeah, those are the matchups. Moving over to the Week 3 matchups, we have myself, versus Nate's team. As you can see here, it looks like it's going to come down to the wire. Pittman and Swift are confirmed to be back. Pittman has been practicing, and Swift has been getting a rest day. So both of them should be ready to go and be able to play. Pittman is going to be needed against Kansas City. Mahomes is going to throw the football all over Indianapolis. And if Herbert plays, he's going to have a good day against Jacksonville. Jamar Chase, they are playing the Jets. I think he's going to have a good day, especially. The problem here is Adam Thielen. They're playing Detroit, so they should have a good day. They were playing Philly last week. So I will give Thielen the benefit of the doubt. But him and Dalvin Cook really haven't been getting a lot of run lately. So it may just be Kevin O'Connell playing that defense, or that offense he played in LA, where it was just the one receiver and every once in a while a different receiver catching the football, just when necessary. And honestly, it seems like that may be the way that they go. I'm hoping that Jalen Waddle has another great game. I feel like they're going to have to throw to catch up in this game with Buffalo, and it may be a very interesting game to watch. I don't see Terry McLaurin doing much against Philly. Philly's secondary and their defense looks really good. I'm actually tempted to play their defense over New Orleans, but it's Carolina. New Orleans' defense should play very well. It was a low-scoring game with Tampa until Tampa decided to turn on the score rate in the fourth. So we'll see how that goes, but I have good confidence in New Orleans' defense. If not, I mean, I do have Philly's defense I could pivot to, but I think better off just stick with New Orleans. Then we have, it's Debo and the Hellraisers. Obviously, I'm going in myself in that matchup. I have to choose myself there. It's Debo and the Hellraisers. See, I like to look at matchups here. Amon-Ra should be really good against Minnesota. Devontae Adams should dominate Tennessee. Debo is probably going to be really good against Denver because Trey Lance is done for the year. Debo is going to have Jimmy G again, and you guys know how that went last year with Debo. The problem is going to be Amari Cooper. Can Amari Cooper put up good numbers like he did last week? We'll have to wait and see on that tonight. Leonard Fournette and Saquon Barkley. Fournette against Green Bay. I do like it. I really do like it if Fournette plays because Monty Mole, David Montgomery, had a great game against Green Bay. And I feel like he is going to have a great day against Houston this week as well. And honestly, I feel like I see that they made the... I understand he needs the tight end, but I'd be better off playing Zach Ertz at the tight end than over Logan Thomas. Actually, I do like Logan Thomas a little bit more just off of what happened last week with Minnesota. The tight end did do a lot of damage against the Philly defense last week. And they're going to be down, so Curtis Samuel is a good option. No Najee, though. No Najee. That's very shocking that this team is benching Najee Harris. Wow. I'm looking at this team, too, and I'm surprised they are stacked at running back. Wow. Okay. All right. Next matchup is Designated Greasers versus Cars Against Humanity. So we got this matchup here. I'm sorry. I gotta go with that stack of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. It's just gonna be too powerful. And with this team here, like A.J. Dillon against Tampa, I don't like it. I mean, Tyreek Hill is going to have another great game, obviously, but Juju Smith-Schuster needs to wake up and do something. And when your starting quarterback is Derek Carr, he will have a good day against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense does not scare me, but I just think that Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, unless they have a really bad day, there's no way they lose that. And then exclamation point versus the Cack Attack. I mean, here we got a pretty... I know they're projected to win here. I mean, Christian McCaffrey playing New Orleans. I mean, he always struggles against New Orleans for some reason. McCaffrey does. Aaron Jones against Tampa. I think I'm fine with Aaron Jones. I just don't think that... And Rashad Penny could come back and against it. It's Atlanta. So he should have a good day. And, you know, we're back to the old days where tight ends suck all around. Unless you have the top 2 or 3. And Kyle Pitts, I think this is the week. I think this is the week we finally see Kyle Pitts getting targets, getting catches, and actually looking good for fantasy. Don't prove me wrong, Kyle Pitts. Please. Don't prove me wrong on that. And seems we got Green Bay defense, Pittsburgh's defense against Cleveland. That may be the deciding factor, but I gotta go with Jalen Hurts and Cooper Kupp. That team up is just too good. And then CDC guidelines. And I'm going to finish last. Well, I think we're going to find out who's going to finish last after this game. This matchup could go either way. It all comes down to if that's very bad. I mean, Keenan Allen comes back. That's great. Keenan Allen comes back. That helps this team. They can throw Mark Ingram off this team then. And I think they have a chance. If Keenan Allen is back, you can take off Hunter Renfrow or even throw Hunter Renfrow in your flex. And then take Mark Ingram off and throw Keenan Allen back on. I think, though, that Jefferson playing Detroit, Stafford playing Arizona, these are just better matchups. Mixon playing the Jets. You saw what Chubb did last week against the Jets. Mixon's going to dominate that. I'm going to finish last. So next we're going to go into the matchups of each week. And I'm going to basically pick who I like, pick a winner, and also break down the games a little bit fantasy-wise. And I'll be right back. Okay, we have returned. And let's start with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns on Thursday Night Football. Which, let me just say, I hate that it's on Prime Video and you can't watch the games anywhere else. It's a really stupid thing to do. It's just the fact that people can't watch these games unless you have Prime Video. It's upsetting. It really, really is. And then people wonder why they illegally stream it. It's just very dumb. In this game, who do I like? Well, both teams aren't that great, I'll be honest. Sorry, Pittsburgh fans. Your team struggled with a New England offense and a New England team who last week the week before in week 1 looked terrible offensively, and they beat you. Mitchell Trubisky, you're not playing him, and Jacoby Brissett, you're not going to play him. These teams look terrible. They are. The only guys I'm looking to play is, of course, you're playing Najee if he plays. You have to play Najee. And you have to play Deontay Johnson. And I like the Muth. The Muth is going to be so loose. Shout out to the fantasy footballers. He's going to be so loose. And I think that those are the only guys I'm willing to start. You shouldn't even have Pickens on your roster. Claypool is like maybe a stash, but he's almost on the verge of cut city. We don't want him. Chubb is a smash play. Damian Harris had a touchdown, and I feel Chubb and Kareem Hunt are both going to have touchdowns in this game. Amari Cooper. I mean, I don't trust any of the Cleveland wide receivers. The only one I'm really looking at is Donovan Peoples-Jones. And that's a maybe. If you're really desperate, I mean, I think you have to play Amari Cooper after what he did last week. But I'm not looking forward to playing him in a matchup against Pittsburgh where it's going to be a low-scoring game. I've read something the other day where the last 5 times they faced off, their over-under's only been like 38. And every time they've hit the under, it's going to happen again, guys. It's a NFC North game, or an AFC North game. What happens in these games, low scoring, not a lot of offense, and a ton of defense, especially when Cleveland and Pittsburgh face off. And especially when Pittsburgh and the Ravens face off. It's going to be a good game. I'm picking the Browns to win this one on the back of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But I'm not starting a whole lot of people in this game. I'm just letting you know now. Chicago and the 0-1-1 Houston Texans. This is a game where, honestly, my Chicago Bears could win this game or they could lose this game. Honestly, at this point, they suck so much. The fact that Justin Fields over 2 games only thrown the football 28 times, when Davis Mills, who was drafted the whole 2-3 rounds later, has thrown it over 75 and has looked a ton better. Which, I gotta say, a lot of people underestimating Davis Mills. He looks good. He looks so good every year. The 2 years he's played, Davis Mills last year, he's just on a bad team. I think, like, if they put a good team around him, he's going to dominate. He's going to have a good year every year, and he can take them to playoffs if he does, if he improves, which, honestly, he's not turning the football over. He's not really being the reason you lose at your defense. So they just need to fix the defense, because the offense with Davis Mills looks pretty good. In this game, I'm actually looking to stream Davis Mills in some matchups if you're desperate for a quarterback. Say you lost Trey Lance, I would play Davis Mills against Chicago. Chicago's defense didn't look that good. They did in the first quarter against Green Bay, and then decided to lay an egg the rest of the way. So, we'll see. But both defenses are actually pretty interesting, because Chicago sucks, and so does Houston. So, this could be a Chicago win. We'll see. Justin Fields, you're not playing Justin Fields. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't. The fact is, the guy's only... I know he has running ability, which is great. But he hasn't really done much with his passing attempts. I'm not trusting anybody throwing the football for Chicago. The only guy for Tennessee. The only guy for Houston I like is Brandon Cooks. You're not starting Dameon Pierce yet. You're not starting Rex Burkhead. And David Montgomery is the guy I'm going to willingly smash starts this week. Probably out of all of these guys, I mean, David Montgomery looks like a guy who should have a touchdown finally in this game. I'm hoping he should put up good numbers, and I think the Chicago Bears win this game. Moving on to the Raiders and the Tennessee Titans. In this game, quarterback start of the week, Derek Carr. especially after what Tennessee happened to them last week. Derek Carr is going to put up big numbers, and he's going to dominate with Davante Adams, who thinks bounces back and has a great week. And I'll be honest, he was close to being my wide receiver start of the week. Very close. Very, very close. I will tell you that. Very close. If it wasn't for a couple other guys who I was looking at. But Derek Carr, quarterback start of the week against Tennessee. You're not playing Tannehill. You're not playing Tannehill. Josh Jacobs, I think you have to play him here. It's just you can't trust him. He's almost at the point now where if you have better options on your bench, you're better off just taking it and getting Jacobs off your team or just off your starting lineup. He hasn't really done a lot. Josh McDaniels is playing that game where it's multiple running backs again, and like he did in New England. And Jacobs is probably going to be out the door, sadly. They drafted Zamir White. I think Zamir White's a better running back than Josh Jacobs, sadly. Jacobs is a Derrick Henry type. Like, I could see the Titans picking Josh Jacobs up and Derrick Henry dwindling over time. Jacobs could be the next Derrick Henry because of how big he is. Speaking of Derrick Henry, you have to start Derrick Henry, but here's the issue. If you get him behind the line before he gets ahead of steam, you got him. You beat Tennessee. Because Tennessee misses A.J. Brown. And the rookie hasn't really performed yet in Treylon Burks. He did just enough for me last week. But these rookies that they have at wide receiver, Robert Woods really isn't doing anything. Derrick Henry, they can just put 11 in the box to put, they can just do 8 in the box to stop Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry last week had 23 yards total last week and a touchdown, which saved him. But that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. And Derrick Henry is almost getting to a point I'm looking to trade him. That's how close we are. And people in dynasty leagues have talked about, oh, hey, trade away Derrick Henry. Trade away Derrick Henry. I'm starting to see why. Because he's had ankle injuries 2 times. And he's had another injury. I forget what the injury is, but he's at 30. And normally around that age in dynasty, you want to try and get rid of your running backs, especially running backs like Derrick Henry. It's getting to that point, guys. It's getting to that point. And on the receiving side, you're not starting any Tennessee wide receiver, but Treylon Burks is willing to stash and keep. He's willing to stash and keep because the rookies are starting to play better. The rookies are starting to get better as the weeks go on. Like Garrett Wilson was a big waiver wire pickup last week. This week, actually. And Chris Olave looked good. A lot of the rookie receivers are definitely showing up. And obviously on the Las Vegas side, you're playing Davante Adams. And if Hunter Renfrow plays, you got to try and play Hunter Renfrow. And Darren Waller's an automatic start every week, obviously. But, yeah, you're not playing really anybody else. Another quarterback I love this week in a quarterback start. I normally don't get to have a quarterback start of the week normally, other than just the one. But I love Patrick Mahomes this week. I think he's going to have an amazing game. And Indy, you just don't look good defensively right now. You got pummeled by Jacksonville last week. That's not good. That's not good. And really on the Kansas City side, you're starting everyone except for the wideouts. On the Indy side, the only guys you're starting is Jonathan Taylor. And if he plays Michael Pittman is going to be needed. And honestly, I think he was close to be my wide receiver start of the week if he plays. Because they're going to be down. They're going to be needed. Look at what Mike Williams did to Kansas City last week. He was necessary. Mike Williams was necessary because they needed to keep up. Michael Pittman is going to be necessary for Matthew Ryan. So, and that's pretty much it. I'm not playing anybody else in that matchup. The Chiefs are going to win that game. Raiders are going to beat Titans, by the way. I should have said that. But the matchup I want to see, this matchup is so close. 50-50 could go either way. I love everybody in this game. I love everybody in this game except for the running backs. Devin Singletary, the Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. I think we're ringing the panic alarm on Chase Edmonds right now because Raheem Mostert's starting to take... Now, he isn't worthy dropping because Raheem Mostert's kind of broken. He gets injured quite easily. So, if he gets hurt, you got a number one running back in Chase Edmonds who's going to get all the targets and all the run. The running game for Buffalo, not that great either. So you're not starting either running backs. But Josh Allen and Tua Tagovailoa, both these guys are going to have amazing games. I think this is going to be a shootout, guys. I really do feel that. Only if Miami can match Buffalo's offense. That's it. If Miami can match Buffalo's offense, that's how they can keep up in this game. And the way to do it, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis if he plays. All four of them are my wide receiver starts of the week. Who would have thought? I'm picking all four of them. Obviously, that's simple. Stephon Diggs, you're playing Stephon Diggs. He's wide receiver 1. Tyreek Hill, you're starting him. Jalen Waddle, after putting 40 points up, you got to play him as well. And Gabe Davis, if he plays, I think we're going to see Gabe Davis play, and we're going to be okay with that. Or I could be completely wrong, and it's like a 10-3 game. We'll see, but I have to pick Buffalo edging this out just a little bit. Buffalo just looks too powerful at this moment in time. So, next we have Detroit and Minnesota. So, it's not a primetime game, so Minnesota's probably going to win. Because Kirk Cousins sucks in primetime. He showed it yet again last Monday. But you know who's actually doing really well and not turning the football over a lot? Jared Goff. Jared Goff. And honestly, if you're looking for a quarterback streamer, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Jared Goff is a quarterback stream of the week for me because Minnesota's defense doesn't look that great. They still don't. And especially, they're going to be down. Goff is going to have to throw the football to both DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I think is going to get another touchdown in this game. He is just going to dominate until Jamison Williams comes back. And, which, by the way, keep an eye on Jamison Williams. When he gets ready to come back, he's worthy of a stash and a pickup. Kirk Cousins in this matchup, he's worthy of a start. He definitely is. And Dalvin Cook, I think this is the game we finally see Dalvin Cook perform well. If not, don't panic, but panic. Look to see what you can get for Dalvin Cook. Or, he's a guy I'm willing to try and trade low for and see if I can get a lot in return, if I can get him in return for like a player and a running back to get Dalvin Cook, because he's not going to do this bad forever, guys. He's not. He plays in a division where he plays Detroit twice, Chicago twice. That's already great news right there. And on the Minnesota side, Justin Jefferson, he's a smash start. Adam Thielen is a question mark, obviously. You're playing, I think you have to play him. If you have better options, I want it. And then the tight end start of the week for me is Irv Smith. Irv Smith, he was involved a lot last week. If he didn't drop that one pass, I don't know if you guys remember it, but there was a pass in the Philly game. He had it in his hands, and if he would have just, like, held on to it, 80-yard touchdown. 80-yard touchdown. He would have had a humongous day and ended as the tight end one. And in the inconsistency of tight ends, you like Irv Smith. You love Irv Smith. I'm picking Minnesota to win this game. And moving on to the Patriots and the Ravens, this is always a good game when they get together. But Baltimore's going to win this game. They cannot match with Lamar Jackson. And I think Lamar is going to have another amazing day on the run and throwing the football. But New England is going to do their best to take out their number one target. That is Mark Andrews. And Rashad Bateman, I think this is the game you're going to see Rashad Bateman start to improve again. You're going to see him catch a touchdown pass. You're going to see some good things out of him. Damian Harris is the only guy I'm willing to start for New England. Ramondre Stevenson really hasn't shown a lot. Mac Jones is all over the place. And Jacoby Myers is just a waiver wire claim at this point. He's not worthy of starting in your lineup. And there is rumors that J.K. Dobbins, he's been practicing. He may be back. I don't think this week. But if he comes back, depending on if he comes back this week, New England, that's really bad. That's really bad matchup. Will not play him in his first game back. But I would still play Mark Andrews, obviously, and Bateman, obviously, as well. Next is the Bengals and the Jets. And who would have thought the Bengals, we'd be sitting here, the Bengals are 0-2 and the Jets are 1-1? Who would have thought? I mean, a lot of it had to do with the Cowboys' defense playing really well, and Bengals, you paid all that money for that offensive line, and Burrow's been sacked 24 times already? That's nuts. He's been sacked 24 times already. That's just not good. That's not good. They need to do something to fix it. And I think this is the week they could fix it. I think Burrow will bounce back and have a good game. Mixon is going to have a great game as well. He's Joe Mixon. Even if the team sucks, he does really well. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, of course, you're starting both of them. And Hayden Hurst is an interesting tight end selection if you're in PPR leagues for sure, because he had 7 targets again and looked really good with all of them as well. Joe Flacco. Who would have thought we'd be sitting here and Joe Cool would be a quarterback 1 in fantasy. I am very shocked that we'd be sitting here and I would be talking about Joe Flacco right now. Joe Cool is actually a start. He is worthy of a start against Cincinnati. I can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, Joe Flacco is worthy of a start. Michael Carter, Breece Hall, I need to see a little more before I start him, but Breece Hall looks really good. I think he's just one more game, good game, and I think he's worthy of a start. Garrett Wilson, if you picked him up in waivers, you're starting him. You're absolutely starting him. Flacco is throwing the football and putting it where these receivers want it. I'm actually okay. Flacco deserves a starting job right now because there's resurgence for Joe Flacco right now. I mean, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, both those guys, and Elijah Moore is still okay. But Garrett Wilson looks amazing with Joe Flacco, and he even said recently that Joe Flacco actually throws a more wide receiver-friendly ball than Zach Wilson does. And he does. Joe Flacco is an amazing deep ball thrower. He really is. Even in those Super Bowl years when he took them to the Super Bowl and the playoffs with the Ravens, he was just amazing throwing the deep ball. And in this game, I think finally Cincinnati wins a game and the Jets drop one. And yeah, I do see like that could be a thing for sure. And here's another shocking one. We got Washington versus Philly. Carson Wentz going back to Philly to face his old football team, the team that drafted him. This is a toss-up. But Philly's defense is too good. right now. Philly's defense is too good. Darius Slay, you saw what he did last Monday night to Kirk Cousins. They picked him off 3 times. Jalen Hurts is just too unstoppable. Washington's defense, it took an amazing comeback to beat the Lions. I mean, both quarterbacks are worthy of starting, but Carson Wentz is going to have some turnovers. They're going to have to throw to come back. That's why I do like Antonio Gibson and Miles Sanders in this game. And I love both A.J. Brown. Terry McLaurin against Philly is going to be tough. But Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson, you all got to at least start all 3 of them. But Curtis Samuel's the guy I'm looking to start. Just because it looks like that he is the favorite target of Carson Wentz so far. And honestly, they're going to be down a lot in this game with Jalen Hurts and the Philly offense. It's just Washington is going to have to keep up, and Wentz's numbers are going to go up even more. So Philly's going to win that game for sure. And then the Saints and the Panthers, I'm actually going to use the Panthers to win this game. I think the Panthers win this game. Jameis Winston looked terrible, and Winston has 3 fractures in his back. He can't really do a lot throwing the football right now, and I mean it showed in that game against Tampa. 3-0 into the fourth quarter. That's not great. That's really not great. Tom Brady was the same way. Tom Brady didn't look that great either. We'll get to him later. But Carolina, the only guys I'm willing to start is Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore because you have to. That's it. I'm not starting either quarterback, obviously. On the New Orleans side, if Kamara's back, you got to play Kamara. And the wide receivers, Michael Thomas still looks good, even regardless of what's going on with Jameis. Michael Thomas still looks good. I'm not starting Landry and Olave yet. Olave needs to show me a little more. But Michael Thomas looks like he's back. And the tight ends, obviously, you're not starting Taysom Hill. Don't do it. That's a very desperation move if I've ever seen one. Jags and the Chargers. The Chargers are winning this football game. The Jags may give them a little run, but because they have looked decent these last game, but the Chargers are just too powerful. And Herbert, I know he's hurt. I know Herbert's hurt, but he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He's still Justin Herbert. I think this is the game Eckler finally gives you Eckler numbers and gives you, because basically I feel the game plan is going to be to protect Justin Herbert, because if Justin Herbert goes down, there goes their season. So they're going to need Herbert to stay healthy, and one way to do that is dumping the ball off. So Eckler, yeah, he's not getting a lot of run or like carries because he's being spelled by Joshua Kelly and Sony Michel, but Eckler is going to start coming back now. I really do feel that. You're not starting Trevor Lawrence against the Chargers secondary. Kirk is a guy who's definitely needs started every week, especially after what he's been doing. And James Robinson, you can start him. ETN doesn't deserve to be started, by the way. James Robinson deserves to be started because of the touchdowns, but if he stops giving you touchdowns, he's not going to bring back on, because he's breaking up time with Travis Etienne. So if that goes away, you're going to have a problem with James Robinson. And Gerald Everett, he's a start. Keenan Allen, if he's back, he needs started. And, of course, Mike Williams. You're just starting everybody on this offense, obviously. Gerald Everett is interesting. I do feel like out of all the tight ends, as bad as the tight ends have been, Gerald Everett and Tyler Higbee are the 2 tight ends that will be the most consistent. And I do feel like Gerald Everett could perform well. I mean, remember what Jared Cook did for the Chargers last year and several years in L.A. with Herbert. he had good numbers, and I think and he did look at the tight end. So I think Gerald Everett, same thing will go for that. And Donald Parham, when he comes back, I still think Gerald Everett will be the starter there. Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. This is a toss-up game for sure. I like pretty much everybody in this game. Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford are both starts. Darrell Henderson is a start. If James Conner plays, he's a start. If not, I'm not playing the running backs. Cooper Kupp, obviously. Allen Robinson looked good, so he is worthy of being started. And I actually, obviously Hollywood. Tyler Higbee, like I said earlier, he is an interesting tight end start as well. But Greg Dortch, if you're in a deeper league and you need a guy to play, Dortch has been looked at a lot. And Kyler Murray has been throwing him the football and targeting him a good bit with no DeAndre Hopkins. So it looks like the rookie Dortch is going to perform well. So if you're in a deeper league, he's worthy of a pickup and a start if you're really desperate for somebody, because he has performed very well in short time, like in just the 2 games that he's played. In that game, I think the Cardinals will take it in a surprise. I may regret that, but we'll see what happens there. Falcons in Seattle. I think the Falcons win this game. And I think we're going to see the coming out party for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is going to have a good game. And I think we're going to see Drake London perform really well yet again as well. And Cordero Patterson's a start. Mariota's actually interesting in this game. Geno Smith, I wouldn't start Geno. But Mariota is interesting in this game because he gives you the rushing upside, and it's Seattle. So he's worthy of a start. The running backs for Seattle, Penny is interesting. Rashad Penny is interesting. My running back start of the week, by the way, was Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson has looked good, and I feel like he's going to be necessary against Seattle. It's going to be a back-and-forth game for sure because both these defenses can't really do a lot, and Cordero Patterson is going to run and catch the football quite a bit. Tyler Lockett, you're I could speak. Not starting Tyler Lockett, and you can start DK Metcalf because you drafted him high enough. You kind of have to. But I don't want to start either wide receiver until I start seeing something from either, especially if you have better options, just bench DK. Just bench DK for a higher upside player like a Curtis Samuel or Greg Dortch even. Even Greg Dortch, I mean, at this point, you're better off just playing these guys that you have on your bench that have higher upside. Or even Garrett Wilson, you picked him up on waivers, throw him in. Throw him in over DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Next, we have Tampa Bay versus the Green Bay Packers. This is the game I wanted to talk about. Green Bay played Chicago. They looked bad for the first half. And then they decided to turn on the points and have a good game by giving the ball to Aaron Jones like they should be doing. Tampa Bay. Brady has no receivers because all of them are hurt, and now Mike Evans is suspended next game. Green Bay's going to win this game, and it's only going to be because Tampa has no wide receivers. They just picked up Cole Beasley because Julio Jones is hurt. Chris Godwin is hurt. Russell Gage is hurt, but he's playing. Mike Evans is suspended for next week. And Leonard Fournette is questionable. So, no offensive line. Brady's going to get sacked a lot. And Tampa Bay's defense is really good, so Rodgers may not have that great of a game either. So, it's going to come down to the running backs, and A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, and Leonard Fournette are going to be the only 3 guys I'm willing to start in this game. You're not playing Tom Brady and you're not playing Aaron Rodgers. I hate to say that, but I can't play Aaron Rodgers against Tampa. And Tom Brady with no offensive line and no weapons, no thank you. No, thank you. Wide receivers for either team. I don't want to play anybody, and the tight ends, I don't want them either. Green Bay is going to win that game, and I hate to say that because that frustrates the crap out of me. Next, the Sunday Night Football game. Denver at 1-1 and San Francisco at 1-1. Jimmy G playing his first game, starting back. And in this game, the San Fran options are back, baby. Brandon Ayuk is worthy to be started, especially with all the pieces. I'm okay starting for San Fran because Jimmy G's back and he's going to get the ball to him. And they're going to have to match up with Denver because Denver, I know they've been playing slow and Russell Wilson has not looked great, but I think they will be able to put up points in this game. And that's why Courtland Sutton is another guy, is a wide receiver start of this week as well. Debo is absolutely going to have a good game because he has his best friend Jimmy G back. If George Kittle plays, you're playing Kittle. My name is Jeff Wilson. He's worthy of a start. They just brought up Marlon Mack from the practice squad, so that really doesn't mean a lot. That means just Jeff Wilson's going to do more. And obviously, you're starting both the running backs, Javonte and Melvin Gordon. Courtland Sutton, Courtland Sutton obviously is being played. And Jerry Jeudy, if he's healthy, you play him. If not, don't play him. And that's pretty much it. I'm not playing Alberto. Russell Wilson, I hate to say it, but if you have a streaming option, I'd much rather go someone else than Russell Wilson because he hasn't looked that great. Their decisions they're making hasn't been great. This game could go either way. I'm going to take San Francisco. I'm going to take San Francisco in this one. Jimmy G leads them on a comeback, fourth quarter comeback, and they win this game late against the Denver Broncos. And then Denver's going to have a long discussion on what they want to do next week. Well, what they need to do moving forward to improve because their decisions have not been great. Dallas versus the 2-0. Yeah, that's right. The 2-0 New York Giants. This team looks terrible. New York is the worst 2-0 team I've ever seen in my entire life. And Dallas's defense, it's going to be a very low-scoring game because Dallas's offense doesn't look that great either. Zeke, you got to play Zeke, right? You got to play Saquon, right? Of course you do. The quarterbacks, not playing either one, obviously. But Tony Pollard is very interesting. And I've said this countless times. Tony Pollard, it's these Memphis running backs, man. Antonio Gibson, Darrell Henderson, same thing. They can catch the football, and they catch it well. Very well. You need to, I know Zeke is iffy. He's very iffy going forward. If he doesn't do well against the Giants, you may want to think about trading him and getting rid of Zeke. Pollard is a guy they're putting out wide, and he's catching passes. That's fantastic in PPR formats. Pollard is just, every time I see him on the field, I'm just like, dear God, he's fast. He's shifty. He's explosive. Antonio Gibson, same way. If he can just hold on to the football. All those Memphis running backs, man, they're explosive with the ball in their hand. But the wide receivers, on the other hand, CeeDee Lamb's the only guy I'm starting. Why would you start anybody from the Giants? No clue why you would do that. Why would you do that to yourself? And CeeDee Lamb is only going to be started because he's CeeDee Lamb. A guy I am looking to stash, though, is Michael Gallup, because he should be back soon. But I would get him the week he comes back, because then you can stash him. And he's not going to really do much week one, the first week he comes back. Dallas is going to win this football game. Giants are a pretender. They do not deserve to be 3-0 at all. It ain't happening. So, My mouth hurts from all that talking. I've been doing this for almost an hour. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. This was good. Week 3 is going to be a good week. Hellfire Fantasy Club. Thank you guys so much for watching Week 1. The first week was good. I am going to have Funk on here soon. He is still on vacation, so this should be the last week you only have to deal with just me. But I will see you all then. And as always, stay awesome, my Dark Knight.